Above deck, the steamship looks almost effortless. Polished rails, cold ocean air, and passengers who never see the 4-hour struggle that keeps the vessel moving. Several decks below, a steel ladder descends into cold dust, furnace light, and heat that can strip away strength, coordination, and judgment before the watch is over. The first furnace door opens, and radiant heat strikes before you lift a single shovel. This is not warmth. It is an impact. The men who work here are often called the Black Gang, a name earned from the coal that covers their skin, clothes, and lungs. Their jobs are divided. Trimmers move coal inside the bunkers. Coal passers bring it forward. Firemen feed and manage the furnaces. A normal watch may last 4 hours. Once it begins, the furnace rhythm decides when you move, when you drink, and when you breathe. A museum description records that a merchant fireman might feed roughly 5 tons of coal in a day. Every load still passed through human hands. The first shovel seems manageable. Then comes the second, the 20th, and the 100th, each thrown into an opening hot enough to punish hesitation. Coal cannot simply be dumped in a heap. It must be spread across the firebed so air can pass and combustion stays even. The color of the fire matters. Dark patches mean poor combustion. A brilliant opening may signal a thin bed or too much exposed heat. Airflow is part of the job. Ash pit doors, dampers, and ventilators determine whether the coal burns cleanly or wastes fuel and pressure. A pressure gauge translates that fire into the ship's speed. If the needle falls, the demand below deck rises immediately. The work becomes a cycle. Open, shovel, spread, close, turn, breathe, and begin again before the last furnace loses strength. Every open door releases radiant heat onto bare arms, face, and chest. The room itself may be hot, but the fire is a separate wall. Some period accounts place stokehold temperatures roughly between 120 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the ship, workload, ventilation, and measurement point. Clothing is reduced to what the work allows: boots, trousers, a sweat rag, sometimes a thin singlet, and little protection from metal or flame. Some accounts even describe men turning metal belt buckles away from the front, trying to keep heated brass from pressing against the body. Sweat begins almost immediately. It runs through cold dust, stings the eyes, and disappears into clothes already soaked from the previous hour. You drink whenever the rhythm permits, but water is not a complete answer. Heavy sweating also removes salt the muscles need to function. As fluid and salt disappear, coordination begins to change. The shovel feels heavier, the stance less certain, and recovery takes longer. So-called fireman's cramp was a feared form of heat cramp. Hands, feet, or larger muscles could contract painfully after severe sweating and salt loss. Cold dust adds a second assault. It hangs in the bunker air, coats the throat, and turns every deep breath into work. The trimmer works where the coal is stored, moving it so the ship remains balanced and the firemen never run out at the bunker doors. A coal face can shift without warning. Large pieces slide toward the worker, and the dust can hide the movement until it is close. In poorly lit corners, or when fixed lighting failed, a protected lamp might be the only guide through the bunker. Lose it, and direction could disappear. Coal passers keep a pile ready at each fireman's feet, often moving the fuel by wheelbarrow across narrow, vibrating deck plates. There is little spare room. Shovel handles, barrows, furnace doors, pipes, and bodies all compete inside the same hot corridor. Then the ocean begins to move the floor. A roll that feels gentle above deck can turn a loaded barrow into a moving weight below. Foot placement becomes a survival decision. One boot must resist the roll, while the other keeps the body clear of the open furnace. Opening a furnace at the wrong moment can pull your weight forward just as the ship tilts the opposite way. A burn may come from flame, hot brick, steam, or simply brushing against metal that has absorbed furnace heat for hours. Even the furnace behind you matters. While feeding one fire, a careless step backward can put bare skin against another hot door. The coal pile at your feet shrinks. If the trimmers fall behind, you cannot feed the fire, and boiler pressure begins to drop. Orders from the engine room demand more steam. Speed, schedule, weather, and navigation are translated into one instruction: burn more coal. The rhythm accelerates. Doors open more often, shovels move faster, and the few seconds near the ventilator disappear. Your body produces heat while the room prevents it from escaping. The harder you work, the faster the temperature inside you rises. Near the air pipe, moving air feels almost cold. Men use these brief pauses to lower breathing, clear the eyes, and regain control. But the break cannot last. Every unattended furnace cools, pressure falls, and another man must absorb the missing workload. You return before fully recovered, because the machine's needs are immediate and the body's warnings are easy to postpone. Coal does not burn cleanly forever. Fused ash forms clinker, a hard mass that blocks airflow and weakens the fire. Removing it means working closer to the heat with long bars, breaking the mass while keeping the remaining fire alive. Below the firebed, ash pit doors must also be opened. The lower position puts hands, face, and knees near hot metal and falling debris. The clinker and ash come out hot enough to glow. They must be moved away before they obstruct the floor or ignite nearby coal. Water cools the debris, but sudden steam creates another hazard. A face too close can be scalded before there is time to turn. Condensation, spilled water, coal dust, and ash turn the deck plates into a slick black surface beneath heavy boots. Hands suffer continuously. Blisters split, coal cuts the skin, and repeated heat and dirt make small wounds difficult to keep clean. Soot enters the eyes whenever sweat is wiped with a dirty hand. For several seconds, the furnace line becomes a blur. Coughing wastes breath and interrupts timing. Yet stopping in front of an open door exposes the body to even more radiant heat. The boiler itself holds enormous stored energy. Fire, pressurized water, valves, and steam lines must remain controlled while men work inches away. A leaking joint or failed steam line can release heat invisibly at first. The warning may be sound, moisture, or a sudden white plume. Inside the coal bunker, heat can hide for another reason. Coal may warm and smolder, forcing crews to watch for odor, smoke, and hot spots. Now the sea worsens. The ship pitches as well as rolls, changing the slope of the deck with every heavy wave. A loaded barrow climbs uphill for one moment, then surges forward the next. The worker must control momentum without blocking the furnace line. One misstep sends a shovel skidding. You catch a handrail before your shoulder reaches the hot boiler casing. No one survives the watch alone. One man steadies the barrow, another closes the fire door, and a third clears the passage. Then a colleague stops answering. His face is red, his movement slow, and the shovel remains motionless in both hands. The pressure gauge is falling, but leaving him at the furnace could turn exhaustion into collapse. The machine and the man now demand opposite decisions. The safest response is not heroism. It is teamwork. Move him to air, cool him gradually, give fluids if he can drink, and divide his fires among the watch. That choice costs strength from everyone else. Each remaining fireman now works a larger section while the ship continues to demand steam. Minutes become difficult to measure. The clock advances slowly, but the repeated doors and shovels make each cycle feel identical. At last, the watch bell sounds. The next crew arrives, but the furnaces do not pause while one exhausted group replaces another. You climb toward the deck with legs still trembling. Every rung raises you from furnace heat into colder air. On the open deck, the ocean wind feels brutal against wet skin. The body shifts from overheating to rapid cooling in seconds. Nearby, passengers continue their routines. Few can imagine the labor below, or that the ship's elegance depends on men covered in coal. Rest does not erase the watch. Hands throb, muscles tighten, lungs keep coughing, and another shift may wait after only a few hours. This job required strength, but survival depended even more on pacing, skill, teamwork, airflow, hydration, and recognizing when the body was failing. The steamship crossed oceans because firemen and trimmers repeated this punishment watch after watch. The question is not whether it was hard. The question is whether, after 4 hours below deck, you would still have the judgment and strength to climb back out.